It's going to take time to rebuild our manufacturing base that's taken decades to dismantle. Now it's going to be fast-paced, accelerating, putting it back together again. And once they build these, those jobs aren't going to leave for a long time because they're putting massive amounts of infrastructure into building the plants here.
That's right.
This is where Trump's tariffs are such, I mean, it's not just a mechanism, LT, to generate revenue for the country by taxing other countries to pay for our expenses. It's bigger than that.
Well, folks, we have another amazing interview today with Dr. Kirk Elliott revolved around the detox that needs to happen from our federal spending. This is all broken down perfectly and helps us understand the importance of moving out of fiat currency into precious metals. We also want you to watch an amazing interview with Tucker Carlson explaining false flags on Kennedy and other situations that tried to steer us towards war. But before we go there, before we get out the interview, I wanted to keep you guys updated every week with up-to-date information that I think it's crucial before we get to Monday. And so first I wanted to share with you, if you guys didn't know, President Trump actually said today the fugitive leader of ISIS in Iraq was killed. He was relentlessly hunted down by our intrepid warfighters. His miserable life was terminated along with another member of ISIS in coordination with the Iraqi government and the Kurdish regional government. Peace through strength. And it released a video, if you're looking at your screen, of this entire thing and how it played out. Boom. That guy is gone. The ISIS leader has been taken out. It's absolutely amazing what we're watching. This whole display, one day after another, we just keep getting these wonderful gifts. Of course, President Trump also said we had a very good and productive discussions with President Vladimir Putin of Russia yesterday. And there's a very good chance, and of course, this, as of this recording, this would be a few days ago, there's a very good chance that this horrible, bloody war can finally come to an end. But at this very moment, thousands of Ukrainian troops are completely surrounded by the Russian military and in a very bad and vulnerable position. I have strongly requested to President Putin that their lives be spared. This would be a horrible massacre, one not seen since World War II. God bless them all. And of course, we need to keep all of this in prayer. I think President Putin did respond to that, and we'll show more of that this coming week. And also, you'll see that interesting things playing out in our own nation with justice and law. Department of Justice visit from President Trump. Interesting statement from Trump about Attorney General Pam Bondi.
You're the people that are doing it. Very, very proud of all of you. Under the Trump administration, the DOJ and the FBI will once again become the premier crime-fighting agencies on the face of the earth. People ask me, what am I going to do about law enforcement all the time? The fake news back there, they're asking me that all the time. What am I going to do? And when are you going to do it? And I answer them by saying I've already done most of it by appointing the people that I've appointed. They're sitting right here. They've done most of it. I don't do it, they do it. Right, Pam? I think, oh, you are so tough, they just don't know yet. Let me begin by congratulating the incredible people who will lead these.
Amazing that he points this out. You are so tough, they don't even know yet. And so back real quick, I just got this in, wanted to show you with this. It looks like Putin probably honored President Trump's plea for mercy. Too bad Ukraine can't even acknowledge that they were boxed in. This is a Russian fighter, apparently participating in the battles near Sudza in Russia's Kursk Oblast, disclosed that their command has inexplicably barred them from targeting Ukrainian forces during their withdrawal. The Ukrainians are retreating, he says, and we're told not to touch them. Like, let them carefully slip out through the fields. But there's 8,000 to 10,000 of them. I'm just stunned by this war. It's all about the money. We can hit them, shell them, strike with grads and others. But commandos like, don't do this, don't shoot. They're just unreal. And of course, there's some cursing in there. And I didn't say those words if you saw them on your screen. I apologize if they haven't been blocked out. But bottom line is we need to continue to pray for all of this as it continues, and also pray for those that were affected. If you guys didn't catch this, all these trucks in Amarillo, Texas, blowing over. They had 80-mile-hour winds blowing across and just knocking them down one after another. And man, the people that live in that area, they need rain, they need help, and they need our prayers, and we're going to continue to lift them up. If you guys didn't see this, Murray said, it's an extremely bold and ambitious plan, but if the Trump team can successfully convince Congress to abolish taxes on the first $150,000 of everyone's income, reduce government regulations, continue the DOJ investigations to justify meaningful spending cuts in September, end taxes on tips, overtime, and Social Security, coupled with states like Florida, Pennsylvania, and others working to eliminate property taxes, we might actually enter a new golden age. And I don't know if you guys caught this the other day. This might have changed as of this recording, but as of this recording, gold actually hit $3,000. Absolutely amazing that these continue to climb, and silver was at $34.20, up 2.16%. And so this could have changed as of this recording again, but just showing you that these things that you've invested in, especially with Dr. Kirk Elliott in precious metals, gold and silver, if you did it a long time ago when he was warning us and telling us these were going up, boy, you're a happy camper right now. And also, West Texas crude is down to $66 a barrel, although the stock market's in a free fall, largely due to tariff wars. You guys know it went up the other day. It actually had a huge rise on Friday. Trump's plan is to get energy prices as low as possible, which will decrease retail prices of just about everything. And that'll be nice, especially hopefully plane tickets going down too as we're continuing to travel. And so as promised, I want to get to this interview with Dr. Kirk Elliott. Afterwards, I'm going to show you about a 7-minute clip on false flags that played out right before our eyes and why it's important to stay prayed up so we don't get fooled anymore. Here we go with Dr. Kirk Elliott. Well, Dr. Kirk Elliott's with us once again. Absolutely amazing to have these updates week after week. So much going on. I feel like we're in the middle of an ocean and we're just getting pummeled on all sides. One day we're catching a really good wave. The next day, the enemy comes back and starts all kinds of chaos. But it's been interesting ride, to say the least. Every day feels like, another gift has been given. Seems like we won on the Canada side. We're winning with the peace side in Ukraine, probably in Russia, and so much more in the headlines. I mean, what are you seeing?
Exactly what you just saw. I mean, this is fascinating. So you've got mainstream media that's like pitching a royal fit about Trump's tariffs, right? And then you've got, I don't know what his title is, the Premier of Ontario, or basically their governor,
right.
Ford says,
right.
You know what? We don't like this Trump guy, and he's awful for Canada, and how dare he even try to do this? So no, we're not going to remove our tariffs, right? So, or the excess prices or whatever he wanted to call it on the energy products going to Michigan, Minnesota, and Wisconsin, right? So it's weird to me to think that when most of their products that they create in Canada are exported to America, hardly anything that we produce is exported to them, right? So the balance of trade is completely off. Same thing with China, same thing with Europe. So whenever they say something like that, it kind of makes me laugh. It's like, oh boy, this is not the dog that you want to go to a fight with, kind of thing. Right. You don't. And so what did Trump do when this communist basically doubled down and said, no, we're not going to back down. Trump is an evil president. So Trump said, okay, fine, we're going to double our tariffs on you. Next day, they stopped them completely, right? It's like okay, I guess the number wasn't big enough, but yeah, they can blow hard all they want to, right? And really, we have the negotiating power because we are such a large consumer engine. Now, this has worked really, really well against Mexico and Canada.
Right.
Time will tell how this is going to go with China.
Okay.
Right? Because China's a little bit different. They are kind of the other big kid in the sandbox.
Right.
And they made an announcement. I don't know which government executive or leader it was in China, but they made an announcement this week that said, if America wants to play this tariff war, this economic war, or any war, we're ready to go.
Yep.
It's like, what? Any war? Are they really egging us on? And how far are they willing to go? And what we found in politics, LT, is something that you and I already know. There's a lot of rhetoric and there's a lot of overblown statements, and they'll never comply with them because they're dealing with the largest consumer engine in the world, and they don't want to lose that. So this is where Trump has all the negotiating power, pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, he came in on this headline here we saw. Trump says he's not even looking at the stock market. Tariffs will make the U.S. very strong. He continues to buckle down on tariffs. And I don't know, the other day, because we're traveling, the television happened to be on, and we're watching one of the mainstream media folks, and they're, walking around with some lady that has a wedding going on. And she says, I have to pay so much more for this wedding dress at my wedding because of Trump, and they're trying to make it look like he's just this terrible guy. But he's holding down the fort, and he said, no, but this thing's going to work out.
So I love this headline because I think it has a dual message, in my opinion. You can correct me if you think that I'm wrong, but number one is it says exactly what it means, exactly what it says. It's like he's not looking at the stock market. He's not concerned about any kind of fluctuations because in the end, these tariffs are going to make the U.S. very strong. Exactly what he said. However, what he's not really saying, it's like the Alison Krauss country song. You say it best when you say nothing at all, right? So I think what he's not saying is he's not looking at the stock market. It's like nothing to see here. Don't look at it. It's ugly. And I think that's what he's kind of saying in the dual message is this is really ugly. So don't even look at it. Right. And so what did we see this week? When you look at what the stock market opened up on, or it kind of closed on Friday, you had Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, absolute bloodbath.
Yeah.
Right. I think the stock market lost literally $1 trillion of market cap over those days.
Right.
I mean, look at this chart that you've got on the screen. $1 trillion. And this is followed up by the cryptocurrency markets, absolutely in a bloodbath the 4 days prior to that. Right. And so these markets are correcting, and they're correcting hard. Right. So here's where Trump, he's 100% right. And he's not looking at the stock market because he's not concerned about it in the long term or medium term. But I think he's also saying, don't look at it right now. It's going to scare the living poo out of you because I think it's going to go down. But don't be worried about it. I think he's telling us to expect things to go down. And I say that because some of the other things that you had shared with me here, like this video clip, I think this is the video clip.
Yeah, this is Scott Bessent. Want to play this real quick?
Yeah.
Always very cool, calm, and collective. I like how Scott Bessent puts everything. He's a great spokesman for President Trump on all this. He definitely got the right guy in there, I believe.
I do too.
10% of Americans are 40 or 50% of consumption. Top 10% of Americans are 40 or 50% of consumption. And that is an unstable equilibrium. The bottom 50% of working Americans have gotten killed. We are trying to address that. We're trying to get rates down. And could we be seeing that this economy that we inherited starting to roll a bit? Sure. And look, there's going to be a natural adjustment as we move away from public spending to private spending. The market and the economy have just become hooked. We've become addicted to this government spending, and there's going to be a detox period.
It's going to be a detox period. I like that.
I do too. And literally, LT, that words have meaning. Every word has meaning. And when he says detox, what do I think of? So, I've done a couple of detoxes. I did like a liver detox once. I did a kidney detox once because I don't like medicine. I always like to do things naturally. Well, it was awful, right?
Oh.
It was not a pleasant experience, but what did I have to detox from? It wasn't even anything major.
Right.
Like, there's no drinking, no smoking, no drugs. I don't have to detox from that. But I did have to detox from like the most common drug in the world, caffeine, right? So
Oh, yeah.
I had this addiction to Mountain Dew. It's like, so just going cold turkey on Mountain Dew of all things for a few days gave me the worst headache, and I was sweating and I was grumpy, and detoxes are never pleasant is the key.
Amen.
Right. So we're talking about a detox of public spending, right? As DOJ starts doing their thing, all these government expenditures are starting to come down. Departments are being shut down. People are being laid off. They're looking at USAID, even though Amy Coney Barrett decided, hey, let's not look at this. Let's just, I mean, crazy, right?
Oh, yeah.
But this is the detox he's talking about. So what happens to people when they detox, right? Like we just said, I got grumpy. Everybody gets kind of grumpy. What's going to happen to society as people are losing their jobs? Now, granted, jobs that shouldn't have existed. However, I still really feel sorry for the people that are getting laid off. They didn't know that working for the government was possibly a useless job. I feel awful for them. I really do, because there's families involved, but it's taxpayer dollars that are paying for it, and it doesn't need to be spent. That's the end reality. So when people are low on money, when they're getting grumpy, when food is more expensive, you have societal unrest. And I think that's what's probably coming. The detox is more than just, hey, look, some people are going to lose their jobs. We're already starting to see the political aftermath of some of these things, like all the Tesla dealers and charging stations, being lit on fire, right? Because people are just starting to clash with each other.
Yeah. I mean, we're looking at this even more so, with Besant talking about the American dream. It's not about access to cheap goods. I mean, he's trying to get into the minds and psyche of all the folks to ensure they understand how this is all going to play out. I just find it interesting. One day after another, we're watching the stock market act up, and then folks are always relying, to me, I think a lot of us have relied on grabbing something super cheap. It ends up in our home, and then what do we do with it? It's like, what kind of life are we living? It's almost like we have to detox from all of our cheap goods that we keep purchasing too.
Well, 1,000% LT. I mean, you nailed it, and I love this article. So what is he saying here? He's not just saying that the American dream isn't about access to cheap goods. What's he really saying, right? Because again, you say it best when you say nothing at all. The untold story is more important than the told one in this case. So he's saying, hey, America, this is my paraphrase of what he's really saying. It's like, you know what? You thought that getting a bunch of cheap stuff from China and growing our economy and having access to cheaper goods was all part of the American dream. Build this conspicuous consumption lifestyle. That's not the American dream. The American dream is actually working hard and getting a job, creating a life for this generation and for future generations. The American dream is the ability to work without government encumbrances on your life that actually tax you to the grave. What he's saying is, we're going to have more expensive goods. This is what he's saying here, because tariffs, going back to the founding fathers' vision for America, having other countries pay for our expenses, that's going to make prices higher. Why? Because these other countries are just going to add the tariff into their price of goods.
Right.
And now things are going to be more expensive. So when you start adding up a bunch of the stories here that we had shared together, and you add this one to the mix, he's not saying that life is going to be pleasant. He's saying get used to higher prices, because the American dream is actually bringing jobs back to America, getting more Americans working, more people buying American goods.
Right.
Then that has this self-fulfilling prophecy, so to speak.
Yeah.
That's the American dream, not buying cheap junk from China or Indonesia or Malaysia or any other country.
Yeah, is the quote here, American dream is rooted in the concept that any citizen can achieve prosperity, upward mobility, and economic security. For too long, the designers of multilateral trade deals have lost sight of this. Amen to that. And it goes into the working class, right? The U.S. payroll growth totals 151,000 in February, less than expected.
Mhm.
And it's just, to me, they use these headlines, especially at CNBC, to kind of make it look like it's not that great when I read the headline. But it's to me, there's actually great things happening here when they talk about the federal government employment declined by 10,000. Good.
Yep.
And average hourly earnings actually climbed. So it's interesting how this is continuing to play out for all of us.
Well, it is. And mainstream media is not going to talk about those talking points. They're going to talk about this. And so Besant actually talks about this too, right? And when he said, look, we inherited, this is my paraphrase, right? We inherited a cesspool of an economy. This isn't going to be Trump's economy for 6 months, right? So what did he not say? What's it going to be like for the next 6 months? I think this is a glimpse of it. See, Trump is going to get blamed for these job numbers that were less than expected. However, he's only been in office for 7 weeks?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
This is the aftermath. This is the hangover effect of the Biden economy. According to, again, I think Besant and Trump both have said that it's the Biden hangover that is the economy that we're living in right now.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I might be speaking out of turn because I've never actually had a hangover, but I know people who have, and I've seen it, and it's unpleasant. They get sick, they're puking, they have headaches, they don't come into work. And so this is like part of the detox that Besant was talking about. This isn't going to be a very pleasant, I think, few month stretch, because you're dealing with something that the Biden administration accelerated, but he didn't just accelerate something that he started from scratch. He accelerated something that started in 1988, right after Reagan, which was a series of presidents, 2 Bush presidents, Clinton, Obama, Biden, right? That's a lot of years of presidents. We're talking about 40 years minus Trump's first 4 years, where they were exporting jobs to other parts of the world. This is why the jobless numbers didn't increase as much as possible. But it's like, wait, Kirk, I thought when Trump came in, he was going to put tariffs on it, was going to raise the price of foreign goods, and all these people were going to start buying American instead, and that was going to create American jobs. Yep, that's true. Just not right away. Why? Because you've got factories all over this country that have been shut down for so long.
That's right.
It's going to take time for them to retool. It's going to take time for them to rebuild. It's going to take time to retrain a workforce that prior presidents shipped overseas.
That's right.
It's not that they shipped those employees overseas. They just cut their jobs. The jobs went overseas, and these people were just unemployed or had to find something else to do, right? So once that's built up, which might take months, might even take a year, right? Yeah. Then people will start to buy American because we've got the manufacturing built up. You can't buy something that doesn't really exist. Right. So it's going to take some time. And this is where Besant and Elon Musk and Trump are such geniuses in their plan that make foreign goods more expensive, because it's going to force the issue quicker to rebuild the manufacturing, because these higher prices have to have a place to go for lower prices. And that would be buying American goods. We just have to retool to get to that point.
That's right. Yeah. It kind of reminds me of this headline that I'm going to show here. The Siemens announcing the $285 million investment in U.S. manufacturing. They plan to bring all this in. The tech company said all of this. They're going to actually have 2 new facilities in California and Texas. Just one headline of many, I think, that are coming. So, of course, the way I look at it, it's like, okay, a lot of folks losing their job in the government force. I just look at it like this. Then they're looking for something to do. Well, here we go. We're going to have these manufacturing, all of this building up throughout America. They can walk on over, get this job, and then of course all the children that are coming up out of high school into college and more, they're looking for something to do. We're going to have availability now. We will.
And so this is just one company, $285 million investment. I think it was Taiwan Semiconductor last week it was made a big story about it. A $500 million infrastructure development, largest semiconductor manufacturer in the world, coming to America. Why? So they can manufacture here to avoid the tariffs. So all of the naysayers about tariffs that just say prices are going to be more expensive, just wait. They will be more expensive temporarily, but this is all part of, it's going to take time to rebuild our manufacturing base that's taken decades to dismantle. Now it's going to be fast-paced, accelerating, putting it back together again. And once they build these, those jobs aren't going to leave for a long time because they're putting massive amounts of infrastructure into building the plants here.
That's right.
This is where Trump's tariffs are such, I mean, it's not just a mechanism, LT, to generate revenue for the country by taxing other countries to pay for our expenses. It's bigger than that. It's creating jobs, which is going to create more sales tax revenue, right? It's these companies coming in because Trump used tariffs as a negotiating tactic to get them to comply. So what are they doing? They're complying. Just like Mexico capitulated on the tariffs, just like Canada did. Now these other companies are saying, we want to keep selling stuff to these wealthy American consumers, 300 million people of one of the wealthiest nations on earth, right? We want to keep selling to them. So we'll just move our manufacturing facilities there so we can stay competitive and not have to pay the tariff. Genius. So that offset is obviously going to reduce the tariff revenue, right? But what's it going to do? Increase tons of other revenue because these are now thousands or tens of thousands of American workers working, making income, spending money, and that's going to have an amazing trickle-down effect.
Right, and these companies have a lot to do with precious metals to them. I think right when I was reading into, the chips and everything else, it's really going to help us on the precious metal side continue to grow in that area also.
Well, yes, and when you look at the magnitude of that, it's insanely big. So our AI, these like the chips that NVIDIA is making and all these other companies,
right,
they have to have the best conductor of electricity possible because they're energy hogs, right? Well, silver is that, right? So they need silver, and you need silver for solar power. You need silver for batteries. You need silver for Bitcoin mining, right? Because cryptocurrency mining is even more power intensive than artificial intelligence is.
Right.
And so you look at every trend where society is going. I don't care if it's cryptocurrency. I don't care if it's AI. I don't care if it's solar power. I don't care if it's electric vehicles. I don't care if it's nuclear power, which is supposedly clean energy. All of these are silver intensive in their manufacturing and powering process. And so here's the thing where you could hate the green agenda globally, the climate change agenda, and they all use like batteries and solar power and nuclear and stuff like that. This is where you can take advantage of that trend. You don't have to agree with it. You don't have to vote for it. You don't have to like the politicians who are shoving it down your throats, right? But yeah, you can actually thrive by allocating into the stuff that they're going to need to try to make the economy cleaner, right? So take advantage of these trends because they're bigger than you and I. They're way bigger. And here's my prayer for this generation is the Second Chronicles LT, where it talks about the lineage and the sons of Issachar, where it talks about the sons of Issachar. God pointed them out in the lineage of people and the groups of people. And he said one thing, they understood the times and they knew what to do. And then he just started listing a bunch of other people that didn't really say much about him.
Right.
But this is my prayer for this generation is we're modern day sons and daughters of Issachar who understand the times and know what to do. They used wisdom. They heard from God. They acted accordingly. They had the courage to actually move forward. That is my prayer for this generation. And in doing that, we can take advantage of horrible governmental trends, right? Just like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego did. I mean, they actually worked for a violent government that hated them, and they proclaimed God's glory to the masses, right? This is where we can start to do the same thing and be light in this dark world and start with our own families and start with our own finances and move forward from there.
That's right. That's right. Amazing time. Folks, you can go to amweknow.com/gold. In the description box below, reach out to Dr. Kirk Elliott and his team, and they'll take care of you. All your questions that you have about gold and silver, especially bringing wealth, just as I believe it's going to be growing like we should, biblically in many ways. And that's what we've been covering week after week. And we're so appreciative of you, Dr. Elliott, for what you're doing for our families, what you've done for our family, and more. We're watching just biblical things play out, and we love to be on this side with gold and silver as our Heavenly Father's put together. And so we look forward to further updates as things continue to be a little bit rocky. We're going to watch it explode, we know, by the end of this year. I'm looking forward to it.
Me too. It's going to be awesome.
We'll talk to you again soon.
See ya.
What an amazing interview. I mean, we are just learning so much from Dr. Kirk Elliott. I hope you guys check him out in the description box below. Reach out to him or somebody on his team, and they'll pray with you also. Absolutely brilliant. I'm so glad that he's with us. Just thanking the Lord for that. And as promised, here's that interview with Tucker Carlson, about 7 minutes to close us off, and then we'll go to prayer.
False flags are very useful.
Yeah, I know.
Very useful. And they work.
I know.
They work, sadly. USS Liberty. USS Liberty, a famous false flag. You know, you want to get us in the war against Egypt? Well, then Israel and the CIA collaborate and bomb and kill American sailors on the USS Liberty. Too bad you didn't kill all of them, because a lot of them lived. And they told the world what the hell happened when they tried to use American sailors as a false flag to get us into a war against Egypt. Didn't work. Even though Lyndon Johnson and the CIA tried their damnedest to work with Israel to do it.
So you think Lyndon Johnson knew that American sailors were being murdered?
100%. It goes all the way to him. You could read Blood in the Water, Joan Mellon's incredible book.
That is so evil that I can't even...
He's such an evil human being. Such an evil human being. But don't ask Doris Kearns Goodwin that, because, you know, she'll write a book about how amazing he is. But he was an evil son of a bitch. And he knew. In fact, and wouldn't allow them to be rescued, by the way. Not only knew about it, but wouldn't allow them to be rescued. They hoped that every American died in the waters that day, but they didn't.
Yeah.
And a lot of other people knew it too in the CIA. So I love when people today,
some poor American sailors on a surveillance ship, not lightly armed, not really armed. I think they had
it was a spy ship. Yeah. With massive American flags on the deck, were a friendly ship, and the Israelis knew it. They had it in their control room on the wall. Friendly. They knew it. And the scout ships that were flying that morning knew it. So it's a lie that it was a mistake. It was not a mistake. We have the documents. We know that it wasn't a mistake. It was intentional.
But I didn't realize, I'm aware of that.
Yeah.
And you're not allowed to say it for some reason.
No, you can't say it. Like, these are things that you're not allowed to talk about.
Right. You can criticize the U.S. government, but, you know.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, I will say, I mean, it infuriates me that you can criticize your own government, but not a foreign government. That's so grotesque. On the other hand, you also give any foreign government a pass if it's acting in its own interest. It's like, they don't care about you. You're a foreign country. You know, like, right. I get it. But the idea of our country allowing the murder of our own sailors who did nothing wrong, were sent there, by the way, conscripted. We had the draft then.
Yeah.
Maybe not even there voluntarily.
It's a great point.
That the U.S. government knows that? I mean, my head is, I didn't know that until you just told me.
I hope the Trump administration, I hope Congressman Luna, who's been, heading up the
JFK Epstein.
Yeah, the release of files whole thing.
Because you can't just release them. You have to have a congressional committee to hide them even longer.
You have to redact things and hide them and then release, like this
is not disclosure.
Hand out binders, No, I hope the Trump administration, I've spoken to these veterans of the USS Liberty, and their hope is that the Trump administration and the Defense Secretary, Pete Hegseth, will actually do a full investigation into this, openly, publicly, and not pull any punches because of our friends in Israel, but actually put it all out there and go through the full investigation. Testimony from the veterans who were seeing eyeballs of the individuals that were bombing them and killing them on board the USS Liberty.
Strafing them, too.
Strafing them. And when they got in the water, strafing them. and knew that they were
that
friendly.
true?
Yeah, and knew that they were friendly. The captain of the ship said he'd never moved his ship as quickly. He'd never. I don't know the terminology. I'm not a sea captain, but he floored it in a way that he'd never done before. He was told with urgency to get there and to be put in position. And he was like, why am I being put in a position like in a kill zone? Why can I go another mile offshore when I'll be safe? No, you need to be right in this spot.
So the Pentagon set it up
Oh yeah, the
for
CIA
them to be killed.
The CIA collaborated with the Israeli government and maneuvered a U.S. ship to this position to be killed, to be destroyed. The mission was for it to be totally destroyed. So you don't have people coming on my show just telling you what they saw that day. They all were supposed to be dead. Gulf of Tonkin, Remember the Maine, you could go down the list, 9/11, drones over the east coast of the United States. These false flags work for a reason.
But you can't kill your own people. You're not allowed to do that. That's just got to be a red line.
The CIA would never kill its own people.
You can't kill your own people, period.
Yeah, you can.
You're supposed to protect your own people. You're in charge of these people.
Right.
It's like killing your own children.
Tuskegee experiment. You can't kill your own people. You can't put American ships and American sailors in waters and then test nuclear weapons on them. You can't do that. You can't have the Tuskegee experiment. We have a long history of doing these things, and
I just feel like that's a pretty bright line. I'm leading people. I have to do whatever I can, up to and very much including giving my own life.
Yeah.
To protect them, to act in their interest. That's why I'm the leader.
Right.
That's the way you feel about your children should be a species of the way you feel about anybody you lead. I'm in charge.
Yeah.
I get the benefits of being in charge, but I also have, the responsibility, the burden of being in charge, which is to act in their interest and sacrifice myself for them. It's super simple. That's the basic bargain. People will follow, children will follow a father, men will follow an officer, if that's the deal, right? But if you violate that, if you say, well, I'm going to kill people I'm supposed to be saving, then you've broken the deal, and you are not a legitimate leader, and you can get fragged at that point, actually, I think.
Yeah.
I think it's totally fair, right?
My goodness, so much truth is starting to fly out. And with so many millions watching Tucker Carlson, that information is going to flow out to folks that won't watch channels like this or others. And so it's amazing, right? This is all playing out in a magnificent way. If you stayed this long, get a bonus today with Grasshopper's breakdown of President Trump talking about crooked Joe Biden, got us into a real mess with Russia and everything else. But I'm going to get us out, said President Trump. Millions of people are needlessly dead, never to be seen again, and there will be many more to follow if we don't get the ceasefire and final agreement with Russia completed and signed. There would have been no war if I were president, remember? And at the very bottom of this note, he said, oh, what a difference a rigged and crooked election had on our country. And the people who did this to us should go to jail. God bless America and make America great again. So, of course, he's reminding us again, they're not going to stop looking into the election. But it's amazing he put that word crooked election. If you look at the timestamp on that particular release, it's 07/29/15. That's 15 seconds. If you go to 29:15 on the Intel board, it actually has the word crooked and Russia in it. That's right. So President Trump talked about Russia and he talked about crooked. Well, if you go to that Q drop, it says add a 6-year delta plus 13. It says, oh, I see. Now that the 2-year Russian collusion case has fallen apart, there was no collusion except by crooked Hillary, BYE, goodbye. And the Democrats, they say, gee, I have an idea. Let's look at Trump's finances and every deal he has ever done. Let's follow discredited Michael Cohen. Interesting, right? That we're getting all of this information playing out for us every day. I hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your week. Let's go to prayer. Heavenly Father, thank you once again for your continued guidance and direction in our lives, especially with dealing in our finances and more. Thank you for Dr. Kirk Elliott, all he's done for us, his team, and helping so many people move to biblical precious metals. How amazing it is that we've been just on this journey together for so many years and learned about him. We ask you to continue to protect him. Also, thank you for the continued updates from President Trump and his team, showing us that they're hard at work for we, the people. We ask that you continue to just receive the honor, praise, and glory that you deserve for all of this. In the name of your Son, we pray. Jesus Christ, Yeshua, amen and amen. Folks, thank you so much for tuning in. Hope you, again, have a great week. Don't forget that we'll have updates for you as we continue to travel. We'll get those out as soon as we can. For now, this is LT saying Semper Fi with them we know. Signing out.